Welcome back to our Explainer series. Today, we're not just going to talk about AI, we're actually going to dive deep into its core. We're going to build what you could call a bridge between the world of abstract math and the very real process we call machine learning. You know, you hear this phrase all the time, the AI is learning, or we're training the model. But what is actually happening under the hood? It's not like you or I cramming for a test or memorizing flashcards. No, it's something much more interesting. It's a process of exploration, of discovery, guided entirely by the pure, unfeeling logic of mathematics. So, the best way to really wrap your head around this is to think of it like a journey. Imagine our AI model is a hiker, and it's been dropped into this enormous, foggy mountain range. Its only goal, its entire purpose, is to find the lowest possible point, the deepest valley in the entire range. And every single step it takes is dictated by a very precise set of mathematical rules. That journey, that's the learning process. And that's really the core idea from our source material, the optimization bridge. It makes it really clear that this whole thing is built on this beautiful, seamless integration of different fields of math. It's the engine that lets a model see data, figure out just how wrong it is, and then, step by tiny step, get better and better. All right, so if learning is a journey, what's the first thing any traveler needs? A map, right? Well, in the world of artificial intelligence, that map is drawn for us by linear algebra. It's the architect, the thing that designs the very structure of the landscape our AI has to explore. Now, this landscape, this map, has a name. It's called the parameter space. The easiest way to think about a model's parameters is like all the tiny little knobs and dials that control how it works. Every possible combination of settings for those dials corresponds to one specific location, a single dot on this massive map. And the AI's job? To find the one dot in this entire space that represents the absolute best performing configuration. Okay, hold on a second. That sounds really abstract. You're throwing around these big terms, high-dimensional space. I hear that a lot. Can you give me a practical example? Like, why does this matter? What does that actually mean for the AI? No, that's a great question. Let's make this super concrete, because the scale of the problem is everything here. On the left, just picture a simple machine with only two knobs, maybe bass and treble on an old stereo. Its parameter space is just a simple, flat 2D map. You can tweak both knobs and pretty easily find that perfect sweet spot, right? I can picture that. It's just a grid.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. A modern neural network, one of these huge language models, it doesn't have two knobs. It doesn't have 1,000. We're talking hundreds of billions of them. Each one of those is a whole new dimension. So its map isn't a 2D grid. It's a space with billions of dimensions, a landscape so unbelievably complex that we literally cannot visualize it. And the AI has to navigate this thing basically blind, which is why its method for finding the way has to be so ridiculously clever.
And that, right there, is the perfect lead-in to our next piece of the puzzle. If linear algebra gives us the map, then multivariate calculus is what gives the AI its compass. It's the set of tools that tells the model which way to step in this unimaginably vast landscape. Okay, so think about it. If you're that hiker, you need to know two things at all times. First, how high up the mountain am I? In AI terms, that translates to how wrong are my predictions right now? This measurement comes from something called the loss function. You can think of it as an altimeter, where a higher elevation means a bigger error. Okay, so it knows its altitude, but that doesn't tell it which way to go.
Precisely. And that's where the gradient comes in. The gradient is a vector, basically an arrow, that always points in the direction of the steepest uphill slope from wherever you're standing. It's like a compass that points to the quickest way to make your error even bigger.
Wait a minute, hang on. You're telling me the compass points uphill? But we want to go down to the valley. That makes no sense. Why would we want to know the direction that makes things worse? Yes, that's the beautiful, kind of counterintuitive trick to this whole thing. You figure out the direction of the steepest climb, and then you just take a small step in the exact opposite direction. This slide lays out that core learning loop perfectly. The AI calculates its error, its altitude, then it calculates the gradient to find the steepest uphill path, and finally it just nudges all of its parameters to move in the opposite direction, downhill. And it does this again and again. Measure, find uphill, step downhill. Millions, maybe billions of times, inching its way down into a valley of lower and lower error. So now we have our two big pieces, right? The map from linear algebra and the compass from calculus. The real magic, the learning itself, happens when these two work together in perfect harmony. And the algorithm that pulls this off is really the backbone of almost all of modern deep learning. And this whole process, this dance, it has a name: backpropagation. And this quote from the source material just nails it. It is the ultimate synthesis of our two ideas. It uses the chain rule, a key concept from calculus, to figure out exactly how much error each and every one of those billions of parameters was responsible for. But it does this by traveling backward through the model's structure, a structure that is defined by the matrices of linear algebra. Let's actually walk through what that means step by step. First, at the very end of the line, calculus is used to calculate the model's total error. Then, linear algebra gives us the highways, the pathways, to send that error signal backward through the network layer by layer. At each layer, calculus jumps back in to figure out, okay, how much is each little knob in this layer to blame for the final error? And finally, those knobs get turned just a tiny bit, their values are updated, and the whole cycle starts over. So it's a constant back and forth. Calculus finds the blame, and linear algebra passes that blame down the line, so the right adjustments can be made. Exactly. It's this beautifully coordinated dance. And without it, trying to train a network with billions of parameters would be totally computationally impossible. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We've got the map, we've got the compass, we've seen the whole dance. Now, let's just zoom out for a second and really lock in the big picture, because this relationship is truly the key to understanding how AI really works. So if there's one thing you take away from this whole explainer, let it be this simple but really powerful distinction. Linear algebra gives us the structure. It builds the stage, it defines that massive parameter space, it creates the static map of every possibility. But calculus provides the dynamics. It's the engine, the process of navigation, the step-by-step journey of finding the lowest point on that map. One defines the what, the other defines the how. And you absolutely cannot have modern AI without both working together. So there you have it. We've built the bridge connecting these two worlds of math. But our hiker's journey is far from over. See, this whole descent we've described kind of assumes the landscape is a nice, simple bowl. But what happens when it's not? What happens when the terrain is treacherous, filled with little false valleys, what we call local minima, or weird flat plateaus that can trap our AI for ages? Well, that's the next big challenge. And that's exactly what we'll tackle next time.